Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode. I am so excited, as usual, because I'm talking to the one and only Tasya Teles. She's on this brand new show called Shoresy. How's it going?
It's going amazing. I'm having the best time ever right now. I'm so excited.
I bet. I bet you are, because I've seen all these clips of this show. It looks hilarious. So I just want to get right into it. What drew you into the show? Or before that, can you tell us about your role on this show?
Yeah. So Nat plays the general manager of the team. So I run a hockey team of a bunch of crazy hockey players. And she's just trying to get these guys to get focused and win. So the team isn't doing so good at the top of the season. And then we just were fighting through it for the rest of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is actually a spin-off of a very popular show, Letterkenny, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you have to watch that series to prepare for the role? Or did you have to watch a bunch of hockey games to prepare for the role?
I mean, first of all, I'm Canadian, so I have the hockey in the blood. So you don't need to know hockey to watch the show, though. I mean, the beauty of the show is that it's like comedic timing. It's the comedy of the show that's attractive, but we have, this theme of a team and hockey that carries us through the show. So really, you don't need to know hockey or sports to enjoy the show. But I definitely watched Letterkenny and was a huge fan of the show. And they just did, I think, like a tour across the US. And when they finished their tour, I'm not sure which city it was. I think it might have been LA or Vegas. Edward Norton and Brad Pitt showed up because they are huge fans of Letterkenny. And I remember when they told me this, they showed me a photo of all of the cast, the Letterkenny cast. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really hope that Shoresy gets to do like a tour or something around the States and that we meet Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, because that would be amazing.
Can we just put it out there right now that it's gonna happen? It's in the universe.
Yeah.
We put it out there. So now it's just the perfect timing when it's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned the comedic timing and the comedy of this show. This is very different from your role on the 100 where you played Echo. Was this something that you were trying to do? Are you trying to do more comedy roles?
Yeah, well, speaking of putting things out into the universe, I actually did say to myself after the 100, I was like, okay, like that was beautiful and intense on the nervous system. I might want to explore, comedy, and even just in general, like I think it's great to have comedy in anybody's life. I think comedy brings people together and allows us to laugh and shake off all of the craziness of the day, and especially right now we're dealing with so much going on in the world. So I was like, I want to go into comedy. I want to go into comedy. And then I get this phone call from my agent and he's like, hey, so they're considering you for the new Letterkenny spinoff. And I was like, what? Really? That's weird. I was like looking around, for God or the universe to be like, thank you. But yeah, that's how it went.
That's amazing. And I feel like whenever someone is working on a show that focuses on comedy, I feel like you're just laughing nonstop. When you're coming into work, it's just like a filled day. Is that what it was like for you when you were coming in?
That's exactly what it was like. And like these scenes are no joke. Like there's a specific rhythm and timing to all comedy, but this one, like the Letterkenny tone, has its own cadence to it, and it goes fast. Like you really have to pick up your cues. And so I was really nervous about moving into comedy, and what it was going to be like to be on set. So we all used to rehearse together nonstop. Like we took over this hotel in Ontario, and so we would just like walk down the hall and like knock on each other's door and get people together, and whoever wasn't filming, we would run the scenes, and we would be laughing so much in the hotel rooms rehearsing. When we got to set, it would just like we would just stand there and just like see who's gonna crack first,
Just tears coming out the eyes. I can only
Literally.
imagine. Who was the funniest? The one that where you just could not keep a straight face when you were just supposed to keep a straight face while reading those lines?
I mean, Jared Kiso, who plays Shoresy, is just an absolute joy to watch, and he is definitely one. And then next is Ryan McDonald, who plays Mark Michaels, who plays our coach. And I couldn't even stand in the same room as him sometimes because, like, if I looked at him, like I would immediately start to like crack up. So you have to like come up with these ways to pretend like you're making eye contact, and I would just have to like look at like the buttons on his shirt and just like be like, this is what I'm totally here right now. I'm here right now. I'm with you. I just can't look at you.
I love that. I love that. And so I wanna take it back a little bit, and I want to talk about the 100 because you played Echo. You were on a phenomenal show, one of the CW's greats that will be remembered forever. And I remember seeing that there was supposed to be a spinoff of the 100, and then that didn't happen. So I want to ask you if given the opportunity to be a part of a spinoff of the 100 or even a reboot, even though I feel like it'll be really, really soon for a reboot, would you be down for that?
Oh my God, absolutely. Like playing Echo was one of the greatest joys of my life. Like I had such a wicked time on that set. I had so much fun. The cast was amazing, and the story was just so like raw and gruesome and intense and cutthroat and edgy, and it was always keeping you on the end, at the edge of your seat, and yet it kind of talked about these broad ideas, about humanity and what is fair and survival and living. And I loved that show so much. I'm so proud of what we did. So,
Do you still keep in touch with the cast of the 100?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We were like family. We became so close. There was a point in time like where a few of us rented a house together when we were living in LA, like in the off season, and we would all just like, we lived together. So I still hang out with a lot of those cats all the time, talk to them all the time.
I love that. Fingers crossed. Maybe one day we will get a spinoff. I know
Maybe
a lot of
we
people
send
miss that.
another thing out into the universe to the CW this time.
Exactly.
And the CW, those are two separate wishes we're putting out there.
Hey, spinoffs are in though. There are so many shows getting spinoffs, reboots, revivals. So, you never know. You never know. What else? What else are you working on? You're a very busy woman. What else are you working on?
Oh man, you're right. I'm working on so many things. It's like, I don't even know where to start. But I am working on a feature film. We just did a short film about this woman named Pearl who lives in the 70s. So it's takes place in the 70s, and it's about this. I don't want to give too much away, but she's a weed dealer. And then there's like this disco woman that comes into her town and starts trying to mess around with things. And so it's this amazing standoff between these two powerhouses. And like one, represents a little bit more of like the old ways, rock and roll and the earth. And then like one's like more like disco queen, coming in with like some fresh blood and stuff like that. So that's one thing that we're working on. And then otherwise, yeah, I'm getting into comedy. I'm starting to really admire comedians and the courage that they have for speaking about things that are really tough, and we need it through that filter, I think, right now. It makes it easier to digest. So I'm getting really curious about comedy and just studying comedy and going further in that direction.
That's awesome. Do you go to like comedy shows and see comedians and see how they do their work?
Totally. I was actually at the Dave Chappelle show 2 weeks ago. No, last week. I can't even remember now. But it was so phenomenal. They opened with like there was Jon Stewart, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle. Like I laughed at the Hollywood Bowl probably for like 4 hours nonstop. Like I was like hollering out. I was like like whistling. I was like laughing. I was having such a good time. I walked out of that place with such a high. I was like, oh my God, comedy is where it's at. Like, we just need more of it in our lives.
That's so true. And you had mentioned this earlier, you know, during this point in time where our world is now, a lot of people turn to comedy as an escape. So I completely agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Who's your favorite comedian?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I love Dave Chappelle. I love Sarah Silverman. Um, I love Jared Kiso and Jacob Tierney. Like, they're developing a style of comedy that's completely their own, which is so unique. And I really admire that. And then, you know, the brave ones like Jon Stewart. And I mean, I love all comedians, you know, there's so many out there. It's hard to say.
Nice. Well, I got to ask you the $1,000,000 question. Why should people tune in to watch Shoresy?
People should tune in to watch Shoresy because it's hilarious and it's edgy. And speaking of brave comedy, this is a show that takes risks with its joke making. Because in this world, in this, you know, universe that they've created with Letterkenny and with Shoresy, no one's safe. Everybody gets chirped at. So in hockey, there's a lot of chirping, kind of like in baseball, you know, where like the players, the opponents will chirp at each other, but hockey takes it to like another level. And they talk about, through the comedy, they talk about like real issues. You know, they have real stories of real hockey players. We have, you know, people who played for the NHL, the LA Kings. And one of the hockey players, you know, there's a real clip from him beating up somebody for calling him and his parents the N-word while he was playing on the ice. And they open with this scene. And so it's like not just about comedy, but it's about like so many other things, you know, that are happening today in this world that we, you know, that need to talk about. But they do it in a really uplifting, funny way. And we have a great time and we get to do really meaningful work. So it's a great show.
I love that. I didn't know it went there. I love when shows mix comedy with issues that our world is going through. That's amazing. That's so awesome.
Brilliant. It's so smart. I love it.
That was a great pitch as to why to watch the show. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. Well, can you give your fans where they can follow you on your social media, Instagram, Twitter, so they can keep up on what you're doing? Yeah,
absolutely. My Twitter and my social media, my Instagram is Tasya Teles, simple, my first and last name. And I don't even remember my TikTok. I think it's official. I don't know. I'm not on it so much, so you know.
Well, Tasya, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Everyone watching, make sure to watch Shoresy on Hulu. Amazing show. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in. And I will see you guys later.